Legislators in the State House want to spend more money fixing potholes. We told you about the Senate approving $100 million for winter road repair. Well, the House voted this week to make that $215 million. $100 million to state and local road agencies for repairs and $115 million for infrastructure projects across the state. So this is I see your $100 million. I'm going to raise you $115 million. And the House, they look like heroes.
Well, do you think they're hearing from their constituents on the miserable conditions?
They heard from me because I had to get a new tire last week.
Did you?
Oh, I did.
And what did that cost you?
It's cost me a lot of money.
It cost you probably more than you would have paid.
And alignment. So I had to realign the car as well. There you go.
So you're out more than you would have been had we had a higher gas tax or registration fee to fix the roads in the first place. They're hearing from their constituents. People are mad as hell. These roads are an absolute mess. There's not a stretch of highway in Metro Detroit that can be considered a good road any longer. And now you're starting to hear them say, well, maybe we don't need this tax cut as badly as we need better roads. I predict the tax, you're not going to hear much more talk about the tax code and a lot more talk about fixing these roads.
Did the Senate get their nose bent out of joint because they said, well, we had a perfectly good deal here and now the state wants to up it. Now you're going to have to go back to negotiation on this?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. I mean, I think the people who ought to have their noses out of joint are the people in the state, though. This is not a good deal, even at $215 million, because it's short-term money.
Right, I was just going to say, it literally is patching potholes. It is not
yes,
rebuilding.
This is fixing the damage that was done this winter, essentially, to the roads because of the bad winter. It's not ameliorating the disinvestment that we've had over the last 40 years in the roads that's created the conditions that we see all the time. You know, we've been studying this forever in this state. Under the Granholm administration, you had this Blue Ribbon Commission to get together, bipartisan, to determine how much money we needed to take care of our roads, not to fix them, but to take care of them so they don't get into such bad shape in the first place. They came up with the number of $1.5 billion. Rick Snyder, one of his first things he says is we need $1.5 billion more for roads. This is not some number that people pulled out of the air. It's an actual cost, and $215 million is nowhere near that kind of money.
We've got to get consumers, motorists, on board, users, yes, exactly, to on board with paying for it. But you got to build some trust with them too. I mean, people believe that because of the high truck weights in this state, highest in the world, I think, their money is just getting wasted and pounded away by heavy trucks.
So why isn't that part of this conversation right now?
Well, it should be, and I don't know why it isn't. And I don't know the science of that, whether that's a real issue or not, but people think it is. People think that the standards for construction aren't high enough here, that we're always rebuilding the same roads. We know we have prevailing wage laws in this state that make it more expensive to do the work than it should be. We also know that we apportion the road money, not necessarily where the traffic is, but we try to spread it where the politicians are. Yeah. And I think we've got to take a look at all those things and build some trust with people before we ask them for more money, because they already feel like they're paying a lot when they go to the pump.
What about those conversations, though, Stephen? So why aren't we having them? Why are we just then taking this lump sum of money and going to patch? We can do that, and that's fine, because, again, that's what people, and that's what these roads need right now, because what Nolan said is very true. I mean, there is not one stretch around here that doesn't have massive moon craters that you're falling into with your car. But why, then, isn't there that conversation on the other side about these larger issues? Because we can't, there's not going to be another $215 million next year to do the same thing, because don't tell me that that's going to solve it this year.
Well, I mean, the governor tried to get that conversation started, what was it, last year, when he first laid out the road plan. He has not been able to convince enough legislators that makes sense. The truck weight issue is very serious and was not part of the governor's plan to try to either get some of these heavy trucks off the roads or charge them more when they come through. But we just have not, the governor has not done the selling job that he needs to get the legislature to do this.
And it's a wall.
I'm not sure I would blame him for that. I mean, I think he's right, and there isn't a whole lot to dispute it. It's just that people don't want to pay.
And it's the only bipartisan agreement you have in Lansing is that, we don't want to raise road taxes. We don't want to spend more. We don't want to ask people to pay more. Republicans, Democrats, you can't find hardly any lawmakers up in Lansing who are willing to raise their hand and say, yeah, we just got to bite the bullet here and do it. And you know, Michigan has had bad practices. We only recently started asking contractors to guarantee their work so that they could so that they're held accountable if the roads fall apart the year after they've paved them. So there's a lot of things we need to do, but we also need more money. None of those things will negate the reality that we need more money.
And it's very frustrating if you travel at all out of the state. If you go,
you go around the Midwest,
you
even.
go to
and,
Ohio.
They're nowhere near the way
as soon as you cross that
you could close your eyes and know you're back in
yeah,
Michigan.
It's really, I mean, the difference is so stark, and especially right now. Other states with bad weather, which we have, and truck traffic, have figured out how to manage this. We're just not doing it.
Well, let's just hope I don't blow another tire in the next couple of weeks.